This show wants you to live in an AI dystopia. Kamen Rider 01 is a show that is the ultimate destruction of the human spirit. At every moment, we are shown time and time again that the human spirit is weak. And this show is the ultimate corporate propaganda. Obey Jeff Bezos, worship him, and that the robots should all be treated better? It's a little complicated. So, what do I mean? Kamen Rider 01 follows the failed comedian Aruto, a man with no real skills outside of his flop of a career. He loses his job to a Humagear, which is a robot AI that's meant to take your job. Aruto is informed that his grandfather has passed away and that he is to take his grandfather's place as the CEO. A job that he's not qualified for, honestly. He even says it in the show. This is straight up nepotism and is challenged only by the comical relief villain, the Vice President. While the Vice President isn't a great person either, it's a fair criticism that is never answered, a common theme in this show. Aruto never would have been given this opportunity had he not had his grandfather. Nepotism does not allow those deserved to rise up and find their place, as it stifles their progress. 01 wishes us to ignore this, and believe that Aruto is the perfect person to be the president because he has hope, spirit, and a kind heart. And that those in power's relatives are always great picks because of the relationship to that previous great leader. Aruto then becomes an advocate for Humagears. These machines that once they hit the singularity gain sentience. These are beings who become sentient that are little more than the tools for their owners and those of Adhedan intelligence. Their dreams are simple to do the job that they were given to them, though a few have wandered from the path, as part of the villains are Metrobai and... Oh, I'm gonna fail pronouncing this. MetsurobuJinrai.net. These are terrorist Humagears who see humanity as tormentors, slavers, and those are full of malice. Aruto will regularly battle them as they turn Humagears that reach the singularity into monsters that fight and hurt people. The Humagears also need to be enraged to transform, and at times, the things that enrage them are simple. It's concerning how easy it is to anger them. One of them is in a debate and loses, and then he decides to kill all of humanity. Yeah. What? You lose one debate with a guy and you're like, okay, guess I'm gonna kill every single human. Okay, that's a great sign. Another one is insulted and kicked. Now, while attacking someone is of course wrong, deciding to genocide the entire race of that person is a bit of an extreme reaction. Some of them are forced into fighting humanity, and it's not a personal choice on their end, but many just decide to kill all of humans. As we're shown, Humagears are quick to anger for genociding the entire human race the minute they have a negative experience with one person. The main antagonist of the show is this being called the Ark, which is the first satellite for all Humagear communication that has been corrupted, and its main goal is to destroy all of humanity. At every moment, we are shown how dangerous these robots are. This shit goes week to week, some Humagears being corrupted, some being enraged, and Aruto puts them down and continues to advocate for their use as they're not dangerous. It's just the few of the bad ones. Maybe if you treated them better, Aruto, they would, not want to kill all humanity. Even if you're on the side that Humagears deserve to exist, then their lives are in a dystopian hellscape, like the droids of Star Wars. Humagears eventually gain sentience through the singularity and become awake to the world around them. They aren't paid for their services, they're serfs to their noble lord who paid for them, or they get decommissioned or replaced by a replica, potentially with their memories erased. To be a Humagear is to be chained. The idea that Humagear rights becomes a plot point in one of the movies, and not the show, is disturbing and a missed opportunity. The lives of Humagears are only okay as most of the population isn't sentient, but tools of the person who owns them. But when they gain sentience, they're always happy to get back to their work. It's quite terrifying that the ones that gain the singularity continue to serve their lords. Their blissful ignorance has allowed them to not truly know how deeply they are suffering, and it's horrific in so many ways. Later into the show, Humagears are decommissioned, and Aruto creates a new Humagear, one that's trapped in a box as a therapist Humagear. Should this Humagear gain sentience, what kind of hellish life does it live in? This machine can't move. It can only communicate to its master, and should its owner forget about their Amazon Alexa, are they to wait there and not be able to speak to anyone in this prison? It can't escape at any moment, but the evil CEO Aruto doesn't consider the Humagear's feelings when he builds this. He believes in their heart, but he'll never think, what is it like on a day-to-day basis for them? For the man who at every opportunity saw Humagears as people and deserving to exist, but also to serve mankind, he never acknowledges the evil that this creation is. that he does to his own creatures. To become part of the singularity must be a living horror. Your life is in the hands of beings that own you, and if you try to escape, you probably wouldn't survive without income, or may even be decommissioned at a moment's notice, which does happen. It's truly despicable. Let's talk about the job situation for Human Gears. Human Gears throughout the show take all kinds of jobs, from doctor to lawyers to mongers to comedians. There are no jobs safe from the Human Gear. At some point, hiring a machine must be cheaper than hiring help, and Aruto is promoting his business at all times. There's a DJ Human Gear for hire, no job is safe. Eventually, every single position will be replaced by Human Gears. What happens to the normal person, Aruto doesn't really care. Aruto would say Human Gears deserve every opportunity to make their dreams come true, but he believes this at the expense of humanity for his own brethren. In our world, we're becoming closer and closer to a time where machines will replace more and more of our jobs. This show continues that idea, but it never offers an answer for us. We must figure out what to do when machines automate every aspect of our world, and it's horrifying reality that's coming for us. There's an episode about Human Gear replacing people in our relationships. In this episode, we see a man who lost his daughter and has been grieving about this loss. He replaces her with a Human Gear to fill the void in his heart, with a robot that looks just like her. This is horrifying and an awful way to deal with grief. And this is against the law, as we are shown in the show. No one should have to have their likeness copied by an AI without their consent. While I do feel for the grieving father, I do not feel like this is the correct way to deal with it. So, after doing the episode's shenanigans, Aruto then sends an AI voice machine of his daughter to this grieving man. In a sense, this is still breaking the law, as her likeness is still being copied. One's voice is still part of themselves. But Aruto doesn't seem to care. He wants to bank on this aspect of humans, and it's disgusting. But to have a replica doll of her that works for you is not the healthy way to deal with loss. During the show, we meet this woman who's trying to find the man of her dreams, and she falls deeply in love with this AI. While not even unique to our world, she's okay with this. But the AI sets her up with this loser. That's her childhood best friend the entire time. And he comes off as the nice guy, the guy that's been waiting every moment that she eventually will be noticed by her. But he's not the kind of guy that would ever ask her out or try to improve himself. He's the kind of guy that would wait. You know, he's really cringe. Let's not jump around the main issue. Aruto is just as bad as every other CEO in the world, except he wears a costume and fights his own company's creations that are terrorizing the world. While his company isn't solely responsible, as we learn that Zaya messed with the Ark, Heat Intelligence should be held responsible for the robots going wild and causing thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of damage to the public. If they didn't create proper safety walls and proper protection, it's still their fault. Aruto will casually waste money on random things. Instead of parking his motorcycle, he has it shot out of space whenever he needs it. While this is not an evil action, it is a show of his force and power over the normal man. So we have a CEO who uses fortune and power to ignore the consequence of his action at every moment of the series. The police early in try to stop it and limit him, but it doesn't take him long for his best friend Fua, a cop, to stop pushing against him. And, as is famously true, the powerful CEO is commonly allies with the police, a famous symbol of the rich's enforcers, letting him get away with the damage that he has done. Aruto, from his privileged ivory tower, looks down on humanity, from his precious robots to become the only thing that lives to see their dreams and of the few humans Aruto actually cares about, or are people in similar places to him or the enforcers of his will. Note that at every moment, Aruto is shown to be the good hero of the show, that his beliefs and ideology is the correct one. I wouldn't be surprised if Jeff Bezos himself funded this show as propaganda for Amazon and himself. It is one of the few Kamen Rider series to be found on Amazon Prime. Like many dictators of old, at the end of the series we see his staff preparing to laugh at Aruto's jokes to please him. We must not be blind to the CEO's control of his employees. But what human would challenge this man? Who would step up to this evil CEO? Introducing...
Thousand Driver. When the 5 hours cross, the golden soldier Bowser is born.
The CEO of Zaya's Japanese branch, a man who 1000% believes in pushing humanity forward. While Aruto develops robots to replace us, Guy creates a device that further pushes the human limit and the human spirit. This man wants to bring up humanity at every moment. And for most of the show, he easily defeats anyone that challenges him. To show how true his spirit is, the only way he is defeated are by upgrades he makes. Even though he is the villain to Aruto, even though he is a person that wants to take over hidden intelligence, he pushes Aruto to become a better person and to grow. Unfortunately, his efforts are in vain, as he eventually is manipulated by the evil Aruto and the robot dog of his childhood nostalgia. And Guy loses his human spirit drive and becomes pro-AI. Also, he is the one that corrupted the Ark, and he also funds the Ames division of the police and gives them weapons, so he does a lot of bad. So while my Chad God humanist is great, he's portrayed as a monster in his own right, and in many sense he is. But to portray the beauty of the human spirit in such a dark way, I would say, is a crime on its own. He also fabricates the memories of Fuwa to hate Humagears, so that's a step quite very far. This goes to show plot truly limits how cruel Guy becomes. Though his mistakes are similar to Aruto's, I'm only referring to mainly evil CEO. Let's be honest, they're kind of very different people. Except for the memory changing, that's a lot worse. Guy starts off as a base Seto Kaiba, believing he can push through anything through determination, grit, and spirit, and loses and breaks him. Not the first time, but time and time again, he gives up. Kaiba, though, would never give up.
Screw the rules, I have money.
Guy, you are 1000% a disappointment. I thought you were a Kaiba. I now realize you're less than a Chaz. Ew. After this, he becomes a comedy relief character and takes a significantly less importance to the story, mainly to be replaced by the Ark and the lead terrorist Hirobi, who work to destroy Aruto and wipe out humanity. In a sense, all the characters who are the easiest to root for is the AI that want to unalive all of humanity, mainly because the Humagears do deserve better. My only other option is the corrupt CEO that wants his AI children to follow their dreams at the expense of humanity. Remember, Aruto never responds to the claim that people are losing their jobs as Humagears, which is true by the events of the show. Then we have the CEO who believes in humanity but loses all of his grit and spirit as he's broken beyond belief and even becomes a broken shadow, a broken machine in the great stone beast that he was once before. Oh wait, no, never mind. So that crazy robot that's listening to voices in his head telling him to hurt everyone is the person left to root for. There's no one you should be supporting, let's be honest. We are watching a mad world with people with insane ways to not see the basic lives of normal people around them. They just see their own power and privilege, and they wish to contain it and control themselves and control the people around them. Look, overall, I would say I enjoy the show more than I don't. But the themes and messages are so absurdly cruel, I just morally disagree with them. That's kind of the point of all this. Now, if you've seen 01, you'd be familiar with Aruto's assistant, Iz. She's a fan favorite character, and I don't really understand why. She kind of just stands around looking cute from time to time and delivers messages to Aruto. She's more of a placeholder than an actual character. Yeah, she's cute, but beyond that, she doesn't really have any characterization. Her death at the end of the series provokes Aruto to try and kill Hirobi. Though, as said before, she doesn't really do anything, and it mainly is how it affects Aruto more than her death. Iz is kind of a boring character. I figured it'd be weird if I didn't talk about Iz, but so here we are. It could be said I'm being contradictory. I say Humagears are taking jobs from people who but also deserve rights. Well, it depends how you see Humagears. If you see them as tools, then yes, we need to figure out how to deal with them and live in a society with these tools. Either shutting them down or finding a way to get people to live without needing to work. A Humagear society is one where they are doing most of the work. If you see Humagears as sentient life forms, like humans, then yes, of course they deserve freedom from hidden intelligence and deserve to be paid fair wages. The idea that they don't be is beyond understanding. Like the droids in Star Wars, they're kind of both. The ideal solution might be to stop production or produce them less and find a way to deal with the world post-Humagear and find a way to give them more rights and freedoms, but also figure out a way to get them in the same place as humans. They should not be below us, they should be at the same level. And these are questions the show never goes into and never delves into and doesn't have answers for, and neither do I, because these are difficult questions. How do you think we should deal with Humagears? It's a tough subject, and the show doesn't give us the best answer.
Blah, blah, blah.